two other fifth grade teachers who I consider phenomenal, and I gained lots of knowledge from both of those individuals. We as humans, we have strengths and weaknesses. We have passions, we have skills that we all acquire, and hopefully we utilize to the best of our advantage. Fortunately, my background, I was raised in a bilingual home, so I speak another language, and I used that skill as a fifth grade teacher and taught my students Spanish. The other two teachers had phenomenal skills as well. One was excellent social studies. Her stories, her memorabilia, everything about the wars she could produce, and the kids absolutely loved the stories. The other teacher, exceptional in technology. I mean, she could take something technology-wise with the camera and produce wonderful things. So we used that to our advantage at Harmony. I taught 3 groups of Spanish. They taught 3 groups of social studies or technology, and it was wonderful. I made one lesson plan for that particular subject and was able to blossom with that. I was able to add hands-on, do extra in that lesson because I knew that was going to suffice for 3 different groups just the same way. And I felt confident when my kids came back, they had a better understanding of World War, whatever World War we're talking about, World War I or World War II or the Revolutionary War. Could I teach that? Absolutely. From the book I could. But my passion was not that. Somebody else had that strength and that passion. And so the children flourished from that. What an advantage as a teacher that was. For me, for them, for the students, to be able to gain extra skills, extra strengths, and things like that. When my 5th graders went to 6th grade, I got a phone call from the Spanish teacher and wanted to know what was it that we did at Harmony that was so different from the other schools that these children knew Spanish. They were ready for Spanish too. I said, well, we just, told her what I did. Was that a disadvantage to the other students? Absolutely. But were they doing things at their schools possibly that we weren't doing? Absolutely. So the moral of the story is, as Stacy Weaver pointed out, we're sending kids to the middle school at all different levels. And it's sad for our students, and it's also sad for the teachers there, because what they're having to do is they're having to pull the strengths or fix the weaknesses to try to get everybody on board or, raise the bar in academics, because we have 4 elementary schools that aren't on the same page. Sure, we teach everything we're supposed to teach to these kids, but we all have strengths and weaknesses, and we all do it differently. So what an advantage it would be to have a grade school configuration where we have all 3rd graders in one building. When someone walks in the door, we don't have to say, let me see if we have enough room for you. I'd like to be able to say, can I take a minute and kind of go over, the report card? Can I look at the students and give you some ideas on, some of their strengths or weaknesses, and maybe put them where they belong? Because you do have those teachers who are better with the rougher kids. You do have those teachers who, aspire to, the kids that are lower in academics, whatever it might be. And that's where I'd like to see the kids go, where they need to be placed. I guess overall, I'm passionate about Harrison. I went to school there. I walked there every day. My grandmother taught there. She was a secretary there. Do I want to see it go? Absolutely not. But that's selfish of me. I'm sitting here saying, I want that building to remain. I'd love for it to remain. Great things are happening at Harrison. There's awesome teachers there. I taught with a great group at Harmony. But when I look at my teachers at Harrison, I think, do they know what they're missing out on? They don't. Whenever I went to Harrison, I began teaching science, math, and writing. I did that for half a day. It was a lot of work because I was used to sharing lesson plans, sharing students, sharing ideas, collaborating. If I had a thought on something, I could share it with them. Or if they had a thought about something, they could share it with me. If I had a question, I went to someone. I didn't feel that way when I went to Harrison. I was by myself. Sure, there were the rest of the teachers, but would they really know what I was talking about if I asked them to help me out with the slope of a particular equation? Probably not. But another 5th grade colleague may be able to help me with that. So they're missing out. They missed out on that collaboration that I was able to be a part of. And, if I had 10 other colleagues that were teaching the same grade, what an awesome feeling that would be. And what a great feeling that the students have. That's what we're all about. We want to raise the bar with our academics. If we can bring these students into the classroom and give them the fullest potential that we could possibly give them academically and graduate those kids on top, we hit our goal. We work on that. We strive on that daily with what we have, but you can only do so much with what you have. You saw my building. It is a block long. Those were ceiling tiles, cracked. I'm proud of my building. You walk in, it's as clean as it can be. But in someone else's eyes, it's not. That's unfortunate because there's not a lot we can do. There's not a lot we can do to Harrison. I mean, it's been done. We've got, our floors. We've got, whatever. But we need something. We do. I desperately feel like, this is the answer all around. And most importantly for academics, because I want these students to be the best they can be. Colin has done an excellent job going out and promoting, letting people know, what's going on. I have no problem answering questions, and if anybody wants to talk with me or come by and see me at Harrison or give me a call, I'm open to it. I'd love to visit with you, and I look forward to what's going to happen in the future.
I don't have any notes, but you want me to speak on transition year, and it is a brutal year. I don't know why they need me. We have John Roden, who's been through it many times. I'm telling you, kids transition out of high school, they come out there a little bit afraid. They all love the high school. Even though 9th grade year is a little tough, it's nothing like the 5th and 6th grade year. They've been used to being in these small elementaries, know every kid. I don't know if anybody else here has ever transitioned. My dad was an ag teacher, and I transitioned at Christmas. And I still don't know how that happened. I don't know if he got fired or got a new job. I was in 5th grade, went to Freedom, Oklahoma, where 4th and 5th grade together was 9 kids. Just one piece. If you know where Freedom's at, it's out in Panhandle, Oklahoma, Alabaster County. At Christmas, with my brother and sister in junior high, they see the dad real well. They had 4 elementaries, 2 grades in each elementary. I ended up in the hospital. I really did. Moving and transitioning is tough. 6th grade, I can't describe what it's like, but we'd all get up in here and run around for about 7 hours. That's basically what it's like. We lose quality educational time. I mean, if it's just one day, some kids transition pretty quick. But if they lose one day, it's too much. Some kids don't recover the first year. It sets back their academics at least for a year. And so we have an opportunity to lose this transition year just simply by building a new school and going to grade centers. That in itself is worth it. I promise you, if you ever meet one of our 6th grade teachers, some of you may have been there a long time, they are special. Because it's not only is it tough for the 6th grade kids, the 6th grade teachers are really a special bunch for us. It takes a special teacher to teach that age. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Nye. If you have any questions, you can come down to the ball game tonight. We'll discuss it down at middle school.
A lot of times we think in terms of, my child gets straight A's. How's my child going to benefit from this? And your child will benefit, every child will benefit from this, because if we can do a little bit better in 1st grade, a little bit better in 2nd grade, that just takes the whole class that much further. Okay? And that's the bottom line of this whole transition. And believe me, we are the Lone Rangers left like this. All right? I invite you to look around Oklahoma. You're not going to find, I have not found, I've been looking at this for 2.5 years. I can't find a school our size or smaller that has separate K-5s. Okay? Our goal ultimately is to have all our schools in this same mile section. All right? That's our community school. The idea of having little community schools around just doesn't work anymore. You think about all your special needs children. Okay? I can't have a specialists for every category of special needs children at every little community school. It just doesn't work. It's financially, it's not going to work. And you know, the grade card's going to look at all 4 of our elementary sites, and if we overload them with high-end students or low-end students who struggle, you know, which we have to do right now, I mean, it's just not fair to any of the kids, the top or the kids who struggle. I mean, it's not fair to any of them. It's just not right. And so that won't work anymore. And yeah, that's the thing that we have to move from. And that's what other communities have done years ago. We've known about this. I saw it right away when I started here. The first time we did elementary enrollment, I thought, holy cow, this is not right. But, you know, it's a process. And we have been blessed with a fortunate situation here with with our explosive growth. People ask, what do those tanks mean to Cushing Public Schools? It means bonding capacity, okay? It hasn't, you know, we've got some money in our building fund, but general fund's awash. This is what it means to our community. So in 10 or 20 years from now, I hope we can look back and say, wow, look what we did with the opportunity we were given, and be proud of what we've done. Or, you know, if we don't choose to take action and take advantage of this, then we're sitting in a situation where, you know, I don't think the tanks by themselves are going to attract people to Cushing. I don't think people are going to move and build a home here because there's tanks. What are we doing to improve quality of life so that people say, you know, Cushing's a desirable place to live. Look what they have to offer. And that's what this is about. You know, it's about academics is number one driving force between this transition for us. But even somebody who's not connected to the education, maybe their kids are gone or don't have anything involved with school, you know, I'll show you here in a minute when we get to it, but as far as the cost, you know, I think the cost is down to where it's, you know, I think it's less than what you spend on maintenance on your home, if you really look at it, and I'll show you that. You know, everything's pretty much the same as last year as far as the design of the middle school, okay? You know, safety is a huge concern for us. We've had some horrible events happen recently and it's got a lot of media attention, but guys, this is something we think about every day for years, okay? So as far as the school design, I'll just say real quick about the high school improvements. That's approaching 40 years old. We want it to be around for a long time, okay? We have to do some upgrades there. We really do. And that's what we're talking about here. So can we go ahead and go forward? Well, that's just the design real quick. Pretty much the same as last year. Let's put this in perspective. It's 145,000 square feet. The high school is 175,000 square feet. So it's considerably smaller. It's got 4 grades in it, which the high school does as well. There's nothing extra in there. When you look around there, everything's kind of labeled. If you have any questions with that, I know we're kind of short on time, so I'm going through this, but I'm going to go through my program. We can come back and look at anything, and if you have questions about that facility. You can see there's 32 classrooms. I mentioned, that 2 teachers, 2 principals could stand at the end of the 2 hallways and view each other and see 32 classrooms, very open. The kids aren't on top of each other, as far as the 2 spaces on the gym, that's what you need for PE spaces. A lot of schools, when they build schools now, they build one big box and have 2 gyms in there with a curtain in the middle. It really wasn't much more to stick bleachers and locker rooms in the middle and have 2 separate facilities where we could hold PE in both classes in both areas. And then if they had an event, they wouldn't have to shut down their gym totally. So it was just a nicer design. So only one of them is really seated for competition. The other one's strictly more of just a classroom. But let's go forward. That's kind of the layout. That's the master plan, so to speak. At the very top is where the bright orange is the new facility and where it will lay. See the city ball fields just north of it? And then down below is just future, the architect showing the potential of the property. We have, just point this out. They didn't even use, there's a huge building pad right here that we could do things with, okay? And there's room here too, but there's a lot of potential there with what we can do down the road. This area right here just showing we'd like to eventually have a nice walking track around there, lighted, and then outdoor classrooms and science center and there's a little amphitheater for outdoor classroom, and just make a beautiful campus eventually, and have all of our elementary schools, everybody right here, which if you go to the next one, Joe, there's the whole, this is the mile section. This is 9th Street, this is Harmony Road. You can see the high school up there, and eventually there's no reason we can't get a road to there, and some roads going back into town, going headed west out of the campus. Again, for right now, all we're talking about in this bond issue is right here, plus the high school improvements. So, but that's the long-term plan. So, that's our community school. That's where we envision that to be, and again, just like, for safety, security, it's difficult for our city. We have 3 or 4 police officers, 3 on most days that are on duty. That's a busy part of town, and when we have all of our kids out here, now it's just going headed west out of the campus. Again, for right now, all we're talking about in this bond issue is right here, plus the high school improvements. So, but that's the long-term plan. So, that's our community school. That's where we envision that to be, and again, just like, for safety, security, it's difficult for our city. We have 3 or 4 police officers, 3 on most days that are on duty. That's a busy part of town, and when we have all of our kids out here, now it's justifiable and cost-effective for our city to have a cruiser cruising around that area all the time, really, because there's a lot of activity out there. But we're separated out to 7 different sites, 2 of them out of the city limits. Harmony's basically out of the city limits, but that little area is annexed. It's just a different setup. So, real quick. Here's the breakdown on the $39,730,000. Let's just start at the top. New middle school. That's the bulk of it right there. $29,250,000. Stillwater's building 2 elementaries right now. 22 and 20 million. They're each 90,000 square feet. The one's a little more expensive because of a lot of dirt work, which we'll have a lot of dirt work out here because it's basically a cow pasture right now and there's nothing out there, so we're starting from scratch. But if you do the math on that, you can see that's actually quite a bit more than what we're spending on this. To put it in perspective, this building is what we need. There's no fluff in there. It's going to be nice. We want to make it beautiful, something we can be proud of. But every square foot of it is there to educate children. And again, any questions you have, I'm doing meetings every Monday night at 6:30 at the central office for anybody that has questions or whatever. I'll do them all this month and the first Monday in March. If anybody has any questions, I'll be there at 6:30. But anyways, the CHS improvements, the budget's roughly $2.65 million. Again, that's the metal roof, auditorium overhaul, which it desperately needs. The track needs to be resurfaced. It's down to the asphalt. And we're going to make some changes to the front. If you've been in the high school lobby, you saw that metal walkway we put in there for ADA reasons. We want to build in a better ramp system in the front and redesign that, make it a little bit more appealing and useful, a little more secure. But that's the bulk of that's the improvements at the high school. And then district-wide improvements. Now, converting the middle school, well, we're taking 3 grades out of there and putting 3 grades of smaller children in there. So the middle school will be it's a transition school, is what we'll do with it. But you have to understand, we don't have band for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. We don't think about all the activities we have to do for middle schoolers. So it'll work during this transition. And when I say transition, who knows what's going to happen with our bonding capacity and all the things happening in Cushing. It could be a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. We'll just have to see on that. First thing is this is phase 1, which will radically reduce the number of transitions that we have right now for parents driving around. Right now you got 4 transitions, and by going to this grade center concept, what we're doing right now, you'd have 5 instead of having potentially 7 transitions. So we're knocking that down to make that more convenient. So, and then of course the interest in the issuance cost is the rest of the money. Which the reason schools are doing these and they're going across all of the state is, your finance costs are way lower than your building inflation. And again, this is over a 10-year period. That's just an example of a house taxed at a value of $50,000, $71,000, $100,000, or $200,000. If that's what your house is actually taxed at, not what you think it's worth, because those are 2 different things. Okay, what it's actually taxed at. I use $71,000 because that's the average by the 2010 census. They estimated for 11, which is the most recent information. That's the average owner-occupied home value in Cushing. So on a $71,000 house, you're talking $9.32. And again, these are estimates. Hopefully it'll be a lot less than this. Typically they are, and if we have growth, then it will be less. We've seen a big difference. It was 41.5 last year, and million, and you can see in 1 year from what we were talking about last year, there's been a huge drop, and it wasn't just because we shaved a little bit off the bond issue, it's because of the growth that we've had. So, but hopefully, on a $100,000 house, like I said, to somebody who doesn't have an educational interest, if you have a financial interest in your home, that's and in terms of property values and things like that, there's hopefully that you see that it's well below what the average person hopefully spends on maintenance on keeping a property up like that. So again, just something to compare. And let's go forward one more. Let's put this in perspective. We have to say tax increase because this is where our millage is at Cushing. Now, a way to convert this to just easy math where everybody can understand. Cushing, 2.04 mils. Let's just say that's $2.04. Okay? If you lived in Drumright, same property, and you were living in Drumright, for every $32.30 in Drumright, you would pay in a Cushing for the same value property, a person would be paying $2.04. That's where we're at right now. And that's happened because of the growth in our local economy. So when you look at these dollar amounts, again, for every time you pay $2.04 on property that you own, these were the numbers these folks would pay in these communities. So Agra is supporting their schools. And again, this is strictly the sinking fund, which is our bond fund to pay off a bond. In Agra, they're paying $22.74. For every time you kick in $2, a person living in Agra with the same property kicks in $22.74. Stroud, why is theirs so low? Theirs was just over 20 mils. All the Lincoln County stuff is pretty much Stroud Public Schools. So in 3 years, theirs went from 20-some mils back down to 660. They just built that new gym. And it was sold in the 20s. People were thinking that they would pay $20, and it's down to 660 in terms of, property value on their tax level. So, and there's, like I said, there's what area schools are paying. And we're proposing, if you go to the next one, we're proposing at the bottom, very bottom, this bond is being sold at an estimated millage of 16.43. There's Cushing's history. That's our history of what we've been paying. So this averages out to 19.27 over this 10-year period. And that average is pretty solid all the way back to the 60s. Actually, I'll say when they built the high school in 70, when they passed that bond in 73. So, we're talking, that's quite a run. And we're projecting on this one again, 16.43. The reason the cost dropped off here is because of growth. And if you think Cushing's going to continue growth, then that 16.43 would drop. If you think Cushing's going to freeze and we're not going to have any development in the future, then that's still an amount that's well below where we paid for years, just to kind of put that in perspective. Is there one more? Well, all right. Now, went through that pretty quick. Any questions? Yes.
Is our enrollment up? Kid-wise are growing, but a lot of these people in town are transient.
Right. Our population for Cushing, if you look at it historically, is it's level. I mean, what I'm saying? We go up and down. Since my first year here, we finished the year at actually just below 1,800. And we're in the 1830s or 40s right now, overall enrollment. So we're up a little bit. But we pretty much fluctuate that. I've looked at that back to the 60s as well.
Also, I figure we have at least 5 more years of growth just because of things.
Right.
And then it may fall off or what don't happen. Okay, just comment. And then, what does Pat Elder think about the girls' basketball team this year?
They score a lot more than we used to.
Good.
Hey, Colin, I look back at the major improvements that have been made in this community, and it's bigger than any one person. It's bigger than you, than Martha, than Pat. But you know what? It is connected to leadership so much, and you can go example by example. When we did a major improvement, a major facility here, and you look at the people, and when I see this lineup right here, I like it a lot personally. I have confidence in it, and I know the time is right. My kids are all out of school, and I'm thrilled with the education they got here, okay? I'm absolutely for your project. I know the time is right. I know the need's there, you're not playing big on the security concern, and I appreciate that, and I know you don't want to play. That is a huge concern today. It is a huge concern for me. And interest rates probably aren't going to stay like this forever. We can get the biggest bang for our buck that we could have gotten in a long time. Plus, probably our taxes are going up. It'll help you a little bit. You get to claim it as a deduction. It'll help you a little bit there. But it's just the right thing to do, and the time is right, and the leadership is right. So let's say carry on, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is huge in the future of our community, and anything you can do, to help us out, I appreciate. Like I said, on Monday night meetings, but you can call me anytime. My number's in the phone book, okay? And I'll meet with whoever wants me, whenever, it doesn't matter. I'm totally focused on this. Got a board meeting tonight, and I'll admit I'm not the most prepared for it because this is so important for us. So it's just anything you can do. Like I said, I help to get the message out. Can I get Chris? He had his hand up a second ago.
I want to talk about academics, and I was intrigued with what Martha said about her experience in Harmony, and again, like Bill, and I concur with everything Bill said and agree with it, but having my kids long gone, I was interested in what Martha said about her teaching Spanish to 3. And I wasn't aware. Is your plan now with these grade centers, you're going to have one Spanish teacher for those?
Well, what we have is first graders. You got your first grade teachers working together. It's going to be contained classrooms. They're going to be with their first grade teacher all day. But for that young grade group, but your first grade teacher is struggling a little bit with reading and saying, you got 6 or 7 other teachers that go over and say, hey, how do you do this? How can you help me with this? And maybe this teacher is really good with another subject, and she's helping. So that's the thing, is that we have that every day.
Yeah, my question is, are there other communities obviously have done this?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have a history of testing results that show us that maybe with this system they're having their education's improved, their testing scores have improved?
Yeah. We've dug deep on that, and there's nothing out there that shows like studies on grade centers, okay? So you just kind of have to look at it from, if we have all of our kids, schools have gone at this for number one, financial reasons, okay? I can't put for example, let's do this. We got to do advanced coursework, okay? Advanced math for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And we're going to rotate classes a little bit with that age group when they get older. If I'm going to do advanced math, I got to have them in that building all day. I can't put an advanced math teacher in every building. It's not going to pay. I got to put them in one because I don't have that many kids that would be in it. So which school will I put them in?
Right.
Okay? And everything you can do to help every child is going to help everybody. Okay? If every child does better, it helps everyone. And that's the thing that people need to understand. It's about improving the quality of an A. Your child might have straight A's, but how much better could they be if the teacher was able to do a little better?
And the students challenge each other.
Yeah.
When I have kids who stayed with each other for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're the same kids all day long, which is great. But yet, your high ones don't have those extra challenges. And so if they were in a grade configuration where, there's 80 other kids, they're going to start being challenged. There's going to be someone academically a little above them, and they're going to want to meet that challenge. But some of my kids are, nobody's around challenging them.
Well, it seems to me it's got to improve us academically.
Right.
What you said. I know the negative. Last time, the Doug Carson article that was in the paper, he's talking about don't need the facilities, we need better education. It seems to me we're going to get that.
That's what this is about.
Exactly.
Yeah. Believe me, that's a great question. I dug deep on that, but I just couldn't. The only thing you could find on Grade Center was huge, like, I think I read an article about New York City, and they were doing centers for cultural reasons. They were moving kids across town and doing stuff like that, and you're taking kids totally out of their environment. We have no transitions in Cushing if we do this, okay? Kids are about their buddies. They're not about the building. When they walk out of 1st grade, they're going to 2nd grade at the new school. They're all going together.
Right.
Instead of going to the sixth grade like we have now with 4 different schools, because they don't all know each other. And of course, even in Cushing, it's not as severe as it would be in a big city. I think Rick, you got a question.
Tell me again, Colin, where's K through 4 going to be?
Well, right now during this transition, we call it pre-K's at Sunnyside, K1 Harmony.
K1 Harmony.
Yeah, and 2, 3, and 4 at the at the current middle school. And we're going to fence off that
And you'll
practice area.
You're going to close.
We're going to close Deep Rock, Harrison, and Wilson. Yes.
How many teachers, how many first grade teachers, how many second grade teachers? How many
We have 7 per grade at the lower levels, and then it weans off to 6. And 6 kindergartens are the biggest class, but we're overrun with kindergarten. We actually could handle 8 teachers in kindergarten right now. We don't have space for it, but we don't have a room right now for it. So.
Are there any plans for the buildings you're closing? I mean, are you going to doze them so?
Well, basically the best plan to return them to the private sector at some point. Hopefully there would be some private interest in, like I said, you guys know where Wilson's located. There ought to be some interest there, hopefully. Same thing with Deep Rock. Harrison, we would at some point would have an obligation to clear that property and make it usable for our community in the future. I don't see anybody else that could pay to do that, make it work. And as far as saving history, I'll get some groups together, people that are interested in saving history on any of those buildings. We'll do whatever we can to save as much of that, because that's a neat part. I mean, who doesn't like to look back at that old history? So we want to save it as much as we can. The thing is, now we know about it, we're conscious of it going in, so we can do a good job with that, hopefully.
The no vote's going to be, that block's going to be there. We all kind of recognize that in history, don't we?
The no
vote is going to be blocked. It's going to be there.
Right.
The key to this is what didn't happen last time. We missed it by, what did you say, 20 votes or thereabouts?
Well, it was 50, we had just over 50%. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So there wasn't much needed to do except take your friend and go vote.
We need to get
Or
more.
several other friends and go vote. That's what needs to happen this time, obviously.
Yeah. Well, and again, it's just, this is a big deal. And like I said, it's a big dollar amount, but when you look around what it costs to build other schools, like I said, you take 22 million, take 90,000 square feet divided by 22 million divided by 90,000 square feet, like you're building Stillwater. Basically, that's what it costs. It's just expensive.
What's the plan for the Cushing video? Because that was really informative and very informative.
We'll have it out on our, I have to have our attorney look at it real quick, so this is on Joe today, not me. So I'm joking about it. I want to put it on our school website if we can, but I have to make sure of that. So, but it will be. There is a private Facebook page. It's called Cushing
Tiger. What's it called?
On Facebook.
See, I don't Facebook either, so for a person like me, how would we get it? If we don't Facebook, we don't do that stuff. Is there going to be a community like viewing?
Yeah, well, no, what we'll have, it's called Team Tiger Support Our Schools. It's named the website that's connected to Facebook, and it'll be available on there for sure, because that's outside of the
Well,
school.
like on Monday, every Monday at 6:30 till the bond.
Right.
I'll have it on the school website soon, hopefully. That's my plan, okay? I just want to make sure I can. I'm not there yet. So.
Yeah.
And you can, that's what we'll show as much as we can. Is that anything else? Thank you very much.